Thanks for joining us. We have with us here today Point Park University women's soccer head coach Mark Platts, and as we'll do periodically throughout this season, checking in, getting some thoughts from the head coach. We're 5 games in, Mark, and the Pioneers sit at 0-5. Some good soccer at times, but when you add it all up, still empty in the win column. How would you sum up those first 5 games?
We've played pretty well so far, and at times it's not been for a full 90 minutes, which has cost us. The first game we were 2-0 up at half-time, and for probably about a 5-10 minute period we didn't apply pressure, we slacked off, and that cost us with a couple of goals. The second, we've been beaten twice convincingly by 2 strong teams in Transylvania and Cal State San Marcos. But the Marietta game, we were 1-0 up, and the PK kind of went against us. The first game, as I said, we ended up losing 3-2. And then the last game against Walsh, we were 0-0 at half-time. It was a bit of a defensive error that cost us a goal, and we ended up losing 1-0. So we've learnt a lot. I will say that any team that starts 9 players that are either freshmen or sophomores, we've got a lot of growing to do, just from a maturing soccer perspective. We've got 1 senior, a junior, and then the rest are sophomores or freshmen playing. So we've got a young team out there that's learning.
And not only are those freshmen and sophomores out there, but a lot of the teams that they've played early on, there's no slouches in there. Cal State San Marcos ranked 15th in NEI, Transylvania, a D3, picked to win their conference. Walsh came here with a strong team with a lot of starters back. So, I mean, there were some tough opponents in there.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, I don't look at any of our non-conference games as pushovers. There should be games that make us better as a team, and I think that was one of my main focuses in scheduling the 6 non-conference games we do have, is that the teams that are going to push us and show us where we need to be, because when we play Houghton and Walsh and Damon and Robert Wesleyan and Carla, we've got teams that are going to be pushing us physically. So there's a benefit of playing teams that you think you can win and to get some confidence and some goals, but I'm more of a believer that I prefer to play a team that is going to come and really show us the kind of conference games that we're going to come up against.
Sounds good, Coach. I'll use the Walsh game, the most recent game, as an example. You lost 1-0 to a very good team, and it came down to, one time when they got the game's only goal, had trouble clearing the ball, but how do you turn those type of games where it's even, other than the 1 goal? How do you turn that into a win? Because there's just that one play and a clean sheet. Other than that,
Yeah, sometimes it's luck of the draw. I think I said in my last interview, it's a lot about preparation. It's doing the right things right all the time at practice and in the pre-game, and making sure that we're a disciplined team. Sometimes it can be as simple as making sure we head the ball when we should be heading the ball, or clearing the ball when we need to clear it instead of trying to play possession soccer, and we're getting a lot better at that. I can't say that it's all on one player. It's a team effort, and it wasn't just one player that might make an error that costs a game. It's a team that does it. So it's, as a team, preparing ourselves as best we can for each and every game, and making sure that we do the simple things right every time.
You have a large roster, and through these first 5 games have certain players emerged as a regular lineup or a regular rotation of, say, the top 15 or 18 players, or how is that shaken out and as we move forward?
Yeah, we've got a roster of 29 and 30, depending on there's some eligibility players that we're still waiting on. But about 15, 16 players have emerged as the top players, not only in fitness but in technique, how technical they are and confident they are on the ball. And a lot of that is because we're a young team. There's some players that do need maybe a year or 2 of experience before they can really be impact players. But we've got a very solid core group of players that can compete with anyone. I think on any given day we can compete with any team that we play against. It's just making sure that we're ready for each and every game as an individual game, and not looking 6 games ahead of maybe we've got Walsh to play again or Roberts to play again. I want us to focus on the next game, which will be Fisher for us in just over a week now.
So you mentioned it coming up next, right into the AMC schedule. Of course, we played Walsh. They can't compete for the playoffs, but it definitely goes against you 0-1 with the loss against Walsh. But you have the conference slate ahead of you, Couple versus Fisher, home versus Carlo, and Houghton. So that's going to be a good proving ground for the team, I would think, right?
Yeah, I think Fisher, they've got off to a rough start. I saw them against Carlo once, and Carlo had beaten them quite convincingly. So I'm hoping that Fisher is ones that we can get good results against, which will set us up for the Carlo. And I see that as a big game, with 5 of the 7 teams making playoffs, assuming Walsh will be one of those 5s. I think it'll be between us and Carlo. So if we win both games against Carlo, there's no reason that playoffs isn't for us this season. But having seen Carlo, they're the same as us. They've got a much bigger roster this year, much more talent on their team. So I think we're both teams in transition. I think they only won 1 conference game last year versus our 0. I'm hoping that we can play them well and get 2 results from them.
In talking to the team, do you stress the AMC games more so than the other ones, or mention it's like, say, hey, ladies, we are 0-5 at this juncture, but it's really about the AMC schedule. If you could touch on that, of what you maybe talk amongst the team.
Yeah, I talked about that in pre-season and let the team know. We even bought the AMC website to see where the standings happen, and that the overall record is nice and it's a good pick-me-up if you're 5-0 versus 0-5, but if you don't win your conference games, you're not making it to playoffs. So we do appreciate the 0-4 against non-conference and 0-1 against the conference being Walsh, but the girls understand what the importance of Fisher and Carlo, Damon, Roberts and Houghton are.
And then, not looking too far ahead, like you said, but some exciting, the first of 2 dates at Couples Stadium.
Yep.
We have Houghton coming in, 10 a.m. start September 30th, with the other being Roberts Wesley on October 28th later in the year. But that's a cool opportunity to play closer to campus and on a nice surface over there at Couples where you train.
Yeah, it'll be a good event at Founders Field, so I hope that we can get good support from students, faculty and staff. It's only half a mile walk away, and I think there's going to be fan vans for that game.
That's correct, yeah.
So, yeah, it will be good that we play on turf, because we practice on turf every day, so I'm hoping that works to our advantage. We play Houghton first, and their field is almost like turf. It's a grass field, but it's in perfect condition. And I hope that the home field advantage with some good crowd support can make the Houghton game a challenging one for them.
Absolutely, Coach. We're looking forward to that a lot. Thanks for taking the time. This has been an update with Point Park University women's soccer head coach Mark Platts. We'll look for additional ones later on in the year. Good luck, Coach.
Thanks, Kevin.